Flames Nation, what's up? Alan York with you for another edition of our Wednesday with the Flames. So delighted to have co-offensive coordinator and wide receivers coach Maurice Harris on with us here today. A couple of housekeeping duties, as we always do with these segments. You can send in your questions a couple of ways. You can email us, lfsn@liberty.edu. And for those of you watching and listening on the Teams app, you can submit your questions. There's a Q&A link. And as we get those, we will publish those and ask Coach Harris those questions. First and foremost, Coach, good to have you on with us. I know we've caught up with you a couple of times the last couple of days testing this and different things. How you holding up during some unprecedented times here for us in the world?
Pretty good so far, to be honest with you. Like we were talking earlier, it's been a time for me to spend some quality time with my wife. My girls, they attend Ole Miss. They have been up with us. My oldest for about 2 months. She just went back yesterday, and my youngest, she got here last Monday. And just spending that quality time. You know, during this time of the year, we'll typically be on the road recruiting and the hustle and bustle that goes with that. You know, sleeping in different hotel rooms and all that sounds fun until at nighttime when you're away from your family. You know what I mean? So just to be able to spend this quality time with them has been amazing.
Those of us that have significant others, there is a honey-do list.
Oh, no doubt.
What have been some of those for you that you've had time to do now that we've been kind of locked in at home?
You know, I would say number one, clean out the garage. All right. Number two, I had to fix like this drawer that we have with our garbage can. Normally we would call somebody to do that, you know. Well, since you have time, you try to do it yourself, you know, tightening up chairs, you know, whatever she asked me to do, pretty much, you know, whether it's vacuuming, whether it's, you know, helping with folding clothes, you know, taking the girls' cars to get the oil changes, things of that nature. So I've been having to do all those things, man. But I have an amazing wife too now. You know, she doesn't put a whole lot on my list, man. She does it, man. She tries to really, you know, if she has a specific way of doing things, she says that I mess it up. So so I don't have a whole lot of other honeydews that I have to do.
I know some things are just left for us to do on our own because we think we can do it the best. When you speak of your daughters, tell us a little bit about them, what they're like, and reconnecting with them now that we've had more time on our hands. I've got 3 daughters as well, and really seeing them grow and flourish during this time where we're with them a lot. So what have you learned about your daughters maybe you didn't know and the time you've spent with them?
Well, I think the main thing that I have been concentrating on during this time, a lot of times we want to give, you know, our girls or our children, you know, what we didn't have growing up. You know what I mean? But I think we should kind of flip our train of thought into teaching them what we didn't know at their age. You know what I mean? The importance, you know, just stuff like tithing, the importance of that, the importance of studying, you know, God's word on a daily basis and having his word guide our life. You know, the importance of investing in at their age. You know, things that I didn't really come into knowledge of until I got a little bit older. You know, just teaching those small things. And then to my girls, man, they are very, you know, they have a lot of similarities, but they're unique as well. And I like spending time with both of them at the same time, but I like the time that I have with them separately as well, because I can really pour into them. My oldest, you know, she supports her dad, but she don't know a whole lot about football. She doesn't. You know what I mean? Right. But what she knows about, she's really into politics. She has a big heart to help people. She wants to know, you know, how can she help people, you know, in the Delta of Mississippi, you know, through, you know, it's a very impoverished-ridden area, how she can bring wealth and prosperity there. Also, how to educate the children of the Delta. You know, my daughter, Cortland, my youngest daughter, you know, she loves football. You know, she's all about it. You know, she can tell you about RPOs. She can tell you about, you know, certain techniques that guys use, you know, whether it's a release for a receiver or a drop back for a quarterback. She's into recruiting. In fact, she works at the Ole Miss at Ole Miss in their recruiting department. So she's all into that. And when she's up here, she wants to hang out at the office. She wants to learn more about everything that we do from a football standpoint to administration. She wants to go into sports administration. So you have an opportunity to pour into them. That's been amazing. So it's been a good feeling for me to have them up here.
Maurice, you bring up a good point about women in athletics, and all across the country, there are some phenomenal women that have major roles in athletics, and you see more and more being involved in football. Do you see more doors in football for women opening up as we move on?
I believe so. These young ladies who are now getting involved, and the first one I probably came across was in Georgia at Callaway High School. And first of all, you're thinking, and it's probably a male chauvinist in me, so I was thinking, man, what does she know about football? But then I saw her coach, and I said, oh my God, she does know the game, And then not only that, I saw how the young men were responding to her, especially when she had to get on them a little bit.
Right.
So I do see that door opening up as women, start to come to know the game, just like my daughter, and love the game and want to get more involved in impacting the lives of the people that we have opportunity to do life with on a daily basis.
How was Mother's Day a couple of days ago for you at the house with your wife and everybody?
It was pretty awesome. Coach Fleming, he lives right around the corner. He and his wife came over, and we had a really good time. So we grilled for my wife. We put some on the grill, some ribs and some Italian sausages. We also fried some chicken and fried some fish, and the girls they made baked beans, macaroni and cheese. We had some salad, but we had a really good time. Just we on Apple Music, that was this Mother's Day mix. So we had some soft music playing in the background.
Okay.
While we were eating dinner and talking and communicating. So after eating dinner, we probably sat at the dinner table, man, for another 2.5 hours, just kind of doing life with one another, having a good time, just kind of connecting. So that was awesome.
Liberty co-offensive coordinator and wide receivers coach Maurice Harris joins us on our weekly installment of Wednesday with the Flames. Defensive coordinator Scott Simons scheduled to join us on next week's edition. Liberty season tickets available now. You can call the Liberty ticket office 434-582-7328. Also go to libertyflames.com. A lot of information on our website about season tickets. And again, a lot of talk about the season, what is going to be of the 2020 season, and a lot of questions that we don't have the answers to. But moving through the pandemic and all the digital media that now is being used, Coach, to communicate with players and prospective student athletes down the road. What have you, I won't say enjoyed about it, but how have you gotten through this, and given the fact that this is the main way to communicate now, at least for the foreseeable future, with the players and future recruits?
Yeah, so starting out with recruiting, we've been having Zoom meetings with recruits. And in those Zoom meetings, we kind of separated area and position. Okay, so from an area standpoint, all right, we'll get on the Zoom meetings with, let's say you're taking an offensive lineman, okay? All right, so I would take them through a virtual tour of our facilities, okay? A virtual tour of campus, which I don't know who put that campus virtual tour together, but it's amazing now. You know what I mean? It's very detailed, very user-friendly, and gives you a lot of information. Also, we do one of our training table as well. That's very unique to the group of five, just having a athletes only training table, man, where we can just talk about how we gain weight, how we lose weight, how we maintain our weights, and how Danielle and Dom, they work together to make sure those efforts are benefiting our young men on a daily basis. And with our players, what we've been able to do, all right, on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, we've been meeting with our players through Zoom, and that gives us an opportunity to really slow what we're teaching way, way down. and ask questions and interact with those guys. You think about on a typical install day. So we have a install day on Monday, and then you have another one on Tuesday. So you're going back to back to back to back. So you're giving out a lot of information, and because of time constraints, a lot of times you can't receive information back from them. Well, this way, we can spend 2 days on install day one, and now we're giving information out and receiving information back, and really slowing it down for the guys. So when they come back, they're going to know what we're doing inside and out. And I really like that about it. And also with our signees, we're doing the same thing on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and we've been able to really slow it down with those guys as well.
You also mentioned too, academically, obviously we talk about the student athlete experience. I know athletics director Ian McCall is really big on the experience of student athletes, not only on the field, but spiritually, academically, emotionally. When you look at what Christy Bites and her staff does academically, I know there's some digital stuff that you're able to show the prospective student athletes about academically, hey, this is what you'll be impacted by when you get onto campus. And how important has that been?
That's been awesome, especially for the parents, and it's just been real with you. You have some student athletes, they just want to talk about ball and your facilities and your relationship with them.
Yeah.
But the parents, the academic piece is very, very important. And Christy does, it's about a 4.5-minute clip of her, a video of her, and just talking through her staff and what they do for our guys. And man, it's amazing. You know what I mean? And then coupled when they get on campus and they actually meet Miss Christy and her enthusiasm and her excitement about what she does. And then too, Christy helps us in such a big way, especially when you got guys that come from single parent homes. They're not as trusting of men at first. They talk to Christy about some things that they don't feel as comfortable with us at first, and then Christy can share that information with us to help provide them the best possible experience here. So that's been awesome. And now that you mentioned that, she has done a really good job of keeping us in the loop, keeping our boys in the loop. Coach Fleming and I, we take, we split the receiver group in half, and on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, he calls guys. On Tuesday and Thursday, he has a group, and then we flip-flop it the next week. So we're in constant contact with all of our players during this time. We talk to them every single day about, what you're doing academically. What are you doing? Are you on a routine schedule? Are you getting up? Are you sleeping in? What are you doing right now? Are you eating properly? So those conversations are talked about during that time period when Coach Fleming and I have an opportunity to talk with those guys.
Today's edition of Wednesday with the Flames presented by Carter Bank and Trust, the home of lifetime free checking. Maurice Harris, co-offensive coordinator and wide receivers coach for Liberty football. Flames slated to open up the season September 5th at Virginia Tech, and the home opener against North Carolina A&T September the 12th. Tickets available. Log on to libertyflames.com for more information on that. And for those of you wanting to ask a question to Coach Harris, you can with the Q&A segment on your Teams app. And move forward, Coach. A couple of weeks ago, you had the opportunity to be with Antonio Gandy Golden, record-setting wide receiver, on his big day being drafted by the Washington Redskins. Haven't caught up with you since that day. What was that event like for you, hosting him? And again, needs to be noted, socially distancing. It was administered by, and I think led by you and your wife. And so you had a small gathering at your house, but what was that like for you, and being safe, but also enjoying that day for Antonio?
Yeah, first of all, we did practice social distancing. That was a point, especially made by my wife. You know what I mean? So, but it was an amazing day. That was my second time really being in an environment like that, waiting on those guys to get the phone call. The first time was with Evan Ingram, when we were at Ole Miss. But seeing how he handled all of that, man, was just awesome. He's a true professional. Just to see where he was from a maturity standpoint to where he is right now when we first got here, man, has been awesome to see that maturation process. But the first day, I guess they had the second and third rounds when he didn't get drafted. I thought he was going to be a little down, and he wasn't, man. He was smiling. He said, Coach, if I get drafted at all, it's an awesome day. You know what I mean? And of course, the next day he got drafted. To see his mom, the tears of joy she had in her eyes. He had his whole family on a computer on Zoom. They were all over the country, Chicago, Georgia. They were in Michigan. They were all over the country, and to see that was awesome as well. And then what you don't see on the back end is like, man, he spent like the next 2 hours speaking with coaches and doing interviews. You know what I mean? And you don't always see that on the back end. So just to see the true professional he has become has been awesome to watch that process kind of play out in front of my eyes.
And a shout out to 4 individuals that signed free agent contracts: Solomon Ajayi, Elijah Benton, Bajor Wilson, and Jesse Lemon-Yeh. So good luck to those heading to camps here in the near future. And for Antonio Gandy-Golden, outside of maybe 2 other teams, Coach, Chicago, where originally he's from, maybe Atlanta, where he grew up, but to be drafted by Washington, yeah. I mean, of those 3 teams, you could not have asked for a better situation for Liberty fans to go watch him on a Sunday. And what's the next challenge, I guess, for him now? Obviously, being drafted is goal number 1, but what's the next challenge for him as he, fights for a roster spot, as they all do each year?
Yeah, I would say number 1, getting in and getting acclimated to how they do things on a professional level. You're not going to have guys call and wake you up. You're not going to have those things. And not saying that Antonio needed that at all. He did not. We have some that do, but that wasn't Antonio's makeup. And then learning what they're doing offensively, special team wise, because I think he's going to be a big special teams player for him as well. And then too, the importance of taking care of your body. Your body is your tool, your instrument. You know what I mean? So getting proper rest, eating the right way. I was just speaking to Evan Ingram last summer. My wife and I went to New York, and he has hired a chef. And he said, Coach, I know that may seem like a little outlandish. He said, but I wasn't eating properly. You know what I mean? And I have to fuel my body with the right things. Pizza, fries, and chicken strips, those aren't the proper things to fuel your body with. So just those things, making sure that you have a really good relationship with the strength and conditioning coach, where you can talk to him about any issues that you're going through. So I think that those are the next steps for him to being a professional and having a long-lasting career.
And the residual effect that has on recruiting, Maurice, for Liberty. Hey, 5 record. It's a record year for Liberty, sending those players to NFL teams. What effect do you think that has on not just Liberty, but college programs when, hey, we can market, we are developing these players for the next level? What can that do for a football program in the college level?
It's done a couple of things already. First and foremost, the name Hugh Freeze, pretty much all the kids that we recruit, they recognize Coach Freeze's name. All right, first and foremost, okay? And then for us to have these guys, all right, leave Liberty and actually have an opportunity to play in the NFL has played off big dividends. We had this one receiver, of course, I can't get specific about, names and things of that nature because of NCAA rules. But since Antonio got drafted, man, that opened his eyes up to Liberty. You know what I mean? And he, from pre-draft, and you talk about post-draft, man, his communication with us is tripled. Wow. You got me? Tripled.
Yeah.
He's actually reaching out to us. So, and then we get an opportunity to go through what we have to offer, spiritually, socially, academically, athletically, and they get an opportunity to see, our facilities. They get an opportunity to hear Miss Bice's video, take a virtual tour of campus, and they say, oh my God, I didn't know Liberty was like that, So it has really opened up the doors from a recruiting standpoint, and we're excited for, where we are right now, but also the future.
Given your history, again, you've made a couple of stops with Coach Freeze, and the effect that coming off not only a win in your last game, but it was a bowl win.
Yeah.
And having it be a momentum boost into winter conditioning, into spring ball. Now, granted, you only had 5 workouts. I understand that.
Yes.
But having that success, winning that bowl game, and the returning players, where does that change their mentality heading to the next season?
Well, prior to us going to a bowl game, our guys didn't really know what the experience was like. So only thing we could do was just tell them about it. You know what I mean? All right. So now they know what that experience is like. Okay. All right. So I guarantee you, if you ask any guy that went to the bowl game down there in Florida, they want to go back to a bowl game type setting. All right. But also that sets the standard for our program. You got me? We've gone to a bowl game, so that's the standard. So next year we should at least get back to a bowl game, but we want to go to, the best bowl game we can possibly go to. You got me?
Yeah.
And ultimately, your goal is to compete in a New Year's Six day bowl game. That's our goal. All right. And until we get there, we're still striving. All right. And we're setting standards and we're trying to beat that standard every single year. But when you go back to how it affects our guys on a daily basis, what are you doing on a daily basis to outwork every other, I just start with my guys, every other receiver group in the country, and then every other offensive unit in the country, and then every other defensive unit in the country, and then every other team in the country. And to me, it doesn't always have to be, physical. It can be watching film, meeting with DJ today. They changed the password for them to get into XOs where they watch film. Coach, what is the XOs password so I get it? That as a coach now, I'm excited about that. You know what I mean? Because he's doing some work on his own. So I'm excited about that as a coach. So every single day, we should be setting standards and eclipsing them every single day to have us playing at a high level when we hit the field on Saturdays come next fall.
I like your optimism. I'm as optimistic as you are. We're talking about getting back and when we get back. That first day when restrictions are lifted across the state, across the country, what is that going to be like? And how much more of an appreciation for what we do? Not only what y'all do, but the players, what I do, being able to go out to the office and start building and continue to building for what we're doing with Liberty Athletics and the Lord. Can you imagine what those first few days are going to be like when you start to see those guys back on campus? You're able to work with them again, like being with them face to face?
Well, and that's the thing about them. You spend so much time around them. They're like your children, and when your children are away, you miss them. That's something about every single kid that we have, specifically in the receiver room, that I just absolutely love about them. You know what I mean? And miss that part in them. And I love when they're on campus, when we're interacting with one another, when we're doing life with one another. I love those things. So the first thing when we get back, I can't wait to have them over. We're able to have an occasional meal with them once a month. Yeah. I can't wait to do that. If the weather starts to get warm, we're going to throw some on the grill and just have a really good time, just enjoying one another's company. And my wife's one rule: when the guys come over, we don't talk football. Okay. So yeah, we can't talk any football unless they bring it up. If they bring it up, you can talk. Right. But she don't want me to initiate it. She wants those guys when they come over here to feel at home, to feel comfortable. So we don't talk ball.
I like that. And the torch has been passed from Tony. I'm not going to ask a specific player because it's a team game. And obviously, we talked off air about a number of great receivers you have coming back. You mentioned one, DJ Stubbs. The list goes on and on. So your opportunity now, Maurice, to share with the fans how excited, despite the loss of Antonio and some other key pieces offensively, the cupboard is not bare by any means. And we even saw the likes of a CJ Yarborough against Virginia when he came back from his injury, the prospects of what he could be, and not to name just a couple there, but it's a good group coming back, and it's going to be a force to be reckoned with, I think, in 2020.
We truly believe that, these guys, man, have really bought into doing what it takes to be an elite group. The extra work that they get in, before lifts, after lifts. They even get together on some Saturdays. All right, they started calling Separation Saturday, where they got together and to get some extra work in, and to see it kind of play out those first 5 days of spring ball was very encouraging. We have a young group, but I believe we have a talented group, and coupled with having some quarterbacks that's going to be a little bit more elusive and not downplaying Buckshot's contribution to our offense at all. But when you have a quarterback that's elusive, you can't stay back and play too high and take our RPOs away. You have to add a safety to the box. If you do that, then you got one-on-ones on the outside. You know what I mean? So combined with that, man, we're very excited about those guys that we have coming back.
Maurice, we got 5 minutes left. Again, if anybody has a question for Coach Harris, co-offensive coordinator for Liberty, feel free to type it in the Q&A segment here on our app. When you look at moving forward with this offense, you mentioned a new quarterback down the road. How much more expanded do you see the offense being, more multidimensional, if you will, here in the near future?
So with guys that are a little bit more athletic at the quarterback spot, teams just can't sit back and play coverage.
Yeah.
The times that we had problems this past season was when, all right, they could control the line of scrimmage with their 6 guys, okay, all right, and we couldn't get our RPO game going because we didn't have a mobile quarterback that could make them bring a safety down. So now, with that being said, having a mobile quarterback, they'll have to rotate a safety down. When they rotate a safety down, you have one-on-one coverages on the outside, all right? Or if you want to stay high, now when the quarterback does pull the football, he's not going to get hit until 6 or 7 yards downfield. So they just gives us multiple options of what we can do with the offense. And also coupled with majority of these guys are another year in. You know what I mean? Yeah. You think about this spring compared to the last spring. Now these guys, they know the system. We added just a few nuances in just to make us better. Some things that we learned from gathering information from last season. But now, instead of thinking about what they're doing, they're just reacting. You got me? And they're able to play full speed. And now, if we need to add just this slight, addition to a play, well, it's no problem. As opposed to last year, well, shoot, coach, you want to add this in, and I hadn't even got this down yet. The original, the base way of doing it. Yeah. So, man, we're excited. And I was, thankful that we got 5 days in. Some teams didn't get any days in.
Yeah.
And especially when you're trying to break in a new quarterback. But the one thing about the guys that we have playing the quarterback position, Ken has done a really good job of instilling those guys. Man, you have to do something outside of these hours that we meet with you. You know what I mean? And those guys are film room junkies. You know what I mean? They ask really good questions. So I'm excited about where we're headed offensively and defensively. You look at the bowl game. Oh my God! Those guys shut. They shut a high-powered offense down. You know what I mean? And if we're able to build on that momentum going to next season, I really feel good about our chances to be successful.
Yeah, you mentioned the quarterbacks, Maurice. I encourage fans out there. About a month ago, we caught up with Malik Willis, transfer in, and he was excited to get going, and a really good in-depth conversation with a guy that was here last year, couldn't play, he had to sit out, but a lot of fans may not know kind of his personality, so I encourage all his fans to go back and watch that video we did with him about a month ago. All right, September 12th, scheduled home opener, North Carolina A&T. The stadium is continuing to evolve and be expanded, and renovations going on left and right. Your impressions of your new digs in the Liberty Football Center, and how excited are you to show that off? I know we've shown it digitally, but to get student athletes back in there and training and all that good stuff. I know it's a sparkling building that was great for what Liberty was, but now it's been matured a little bit, if you will, for the FBS move. So I know you're excited.
We are excited about it. You think about this. Our boys have not been inside the building yet. Right. To see all of it. They've seen the same things we've been showing recruits, the video, you know what I mean? Yeah. But and it's a very user-friendly building. It's high tech, for guys like me. I've had to learn how to do a lot of new things in my office, in the meeting room, as opposed to what we had prior to moving into that building. I think that it's second to none. Weight room. I think what Dom and those guys have been able to orchestrate in our weight room is awesome. And you think about just the small things about the meeting room, the team meeting room, having the cameras in there. Also, the small things about their chairs, just big enough for everybody to sit in comfortably. I don't think one thing was really overlooked as they were preparing for us moving in. And even when we moved in, what do you guys need? You got me? What do you want? All right, how can we add something additionally to make sure that you guys are being able to equip our guys, our student athletes in the best way possible?
Coach Harris, enjoyed the time, my man. 30 minutes goes by quick in this quick fire interview we do, but thank you for being a part of our Wednesday with the Flames. Have a great rest of your day. I know you're busy with meetings and things like that, so to schedule out 30 minutes for us, we really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Go Flames.